Hi guys, so I'm going to read the Flash number 159. So this was a request for TL. The Flash. I'm through knocking myself out as the Flash. I quit. Goodbye and good riddance. Signed, the X-Flash. No one even dreamed it would happen, but it really did. The Flash's final fling. The Flash. Disillusioned and bitter at the lack of public appreciation for his efforts, Barry Flash Allen makes the supreme decision of his life to quit as a superhero, to become the X-Flash. But he reckons without his protege, Kid Flash, who refuses to allow his mentor to go into limbo without a last-ditch effort to bar his way. The Flash's final fling. Flash! Help! Stop where you are, Flash. Make a move to interfere with me and my gang, and I'll blow up your hometown of Central City. Go ahead. If that's the price I have to pay for capturing you, it'll be worth it. A gloved fist raps sharply under a brass nameplate set into a wooden door. So it says, Charles McNider, M.D. Knock, knock, knock. A nurse swings open the door, gapes at the visitors, and...
Oh, who are... it's after visiting hours. I doubt whether the doctor will see you.
Please tell Dr. McNider it's Barry Allen and Kid Flash to see him, and that we need his help desperately. Bah, this is all a waste of time. The nurse is scarcely in the doctor's office then. Barry Allen? Kid Flash? Well, don't let them just stand there. Send them in. Let's go, Barry. I know this won't be pleasant for you, but it has to be done. As they enter the office of the blind Dr. McNider of Earth 2, who in his secret identity is Dr. Midnight, member of the Justice Society of America. Good to see you again, Barry. But how come you're not here as the Flash? Why should I be? I'm the X-Flash. What? That's the whole trouble, Doctor. Barry insists he's fed up being the Flash. He's given up his superhero role, and I can't understand why. It all began this morning. I've been staying with him overnight in my other identity of Wally West. I was awakened by the sound of Barry getting dressed in his own room, and when I followed him downstairs... Barry, what's that you're writing? My resignation as the Flash. He says, I'm through knocking myself out. And something. What? In this stage of your career? When your fame is at its height? When people all over the world depend on you? Bah. Don't eat soft soap me. Even a superhero likes appreciation. I never thought I'd see the day that when I turned crooks over to the police, they'd make cracks about why it took me so long to do the job. I practically wear myself out helping people, prevent them from being robbed or injured. And what's the payoff? A front-page headline? Not anymore. Not even a 1-inch filler on the last page. I tell you, I'm up to here with it. But that's not true. Central City is proud of you. The police know they can turn to you when things get too hot for them. The newspapers still play up your cases. Front-page headlines. Your pleas are falling on deaf ears, Wally. To the world, I'm just regarded as a freak with a flair for speed. Well, I'm through playing the big hero for a small-time audience. The Flash has had his final fling. How can such a sudden change come over him? I've got to do something to snap him out of it. I figured if he saw me as Kid Flash, he'd come to his senses. So I made a lightning-fast change. But, beat it, kid. You remind me of the Flash in that costume. I'm clearing out of Central City. Go someplace else. And start life all over as a research scientist. Turn my real talents into plenty of cash.
But what about Iris West? You're engaged to marry her.
Not anymore. How long do you expect me to take her continual nagging about me always being late? Tell her to find an early bird instead of a sitting duck.
Man, you really flipped your lid. You're turning your back on everyone who cares for you. And whether you know it or not, on everything you've dedicated your life to.
We argued all the way to the outskirts of town, where Barry produced his costume ring and caused his Flash uniform to appear and expand. Now for the final touch. Get rid of this long underwear.
I wish I knew what brought all this on. I'd be able to do something about it.
He hung up his uniform on a tree, attached a note to it, and then stalked off toward his car. I was mighty desperate, I could tell you. I ought to take him to a doctor, but I don't dare for fear of revealing his double identity. Besides, some criminal mastermind may be behind this, and I don't want him to learn how well he's on the verge of succeeding. Then the solution came to me. I leaped forward and began to vibrate in the unique manner Flash himself vibrates when he goes into Earth 2. He's told me all about his adventures on Earth 2. I'll take him there to visit Dr. McNider, Dr. Midnight. He'll know what to do.
Hey, what are you doing? Stop it!
As Kid Flash concludes his narrative,
That's it, Doctor. Somebody brainwashed him. But who? And why?
There's no villainy behind this. I'm acting on my own. Let's settle this one way or the other, by medical science. Shortly, deep in a narco-synthetic state, Barry is forced to answer questions Dr. McNider throws at him. Barry Allen, what happened last night, after you fell asleep? I woke up around midnight to find myself staring at a strange nimbus of light in my room. Out of the blinding brilliance, an oddly garbed man stepped toward me. Do not be alarmed, Barry Allen. Flash, I am Colonel Officer Petar Thrant from the year 3780. I'm here to enlist your help. As the Flash? Of course. The policeman said, In the future world from which I come, a master criminal named Fran Matar stole a vibrational bomb from a military arsenal and sent it back through time, cleverly concealing it somewhere in Central City of the year 1966. Fran Matar issued a proclamation to all police authorities on Earth in the year 3780. I am sending out my gang to rob. If anyone interferes with them, I'll explode the vibrational bomb and completely demolish Central City in 1966. The time bomb is activated to go off when its inner shell vibrates at super speed in response to an electronic impulse. This activation runs down after a while, but Fran Matar can always reset it to keep it in readiness to explode. All I need to do is press down on this button, and poof! Central City will be a gaping hole on Earth. To our horror, we discovered that the Flash lived in Central City in 1966, and that the vibrations caused by his super speed could unwittingly explode the hidden bomb. One of us must go back into time to make sure the Flash never uses his super speed again. But how did you know that Barry Allen was the Flash? Your double identity is not known at this stage of your career, but later on, it was. Being from the future, I was able to learn all this past history. So it's my duty to prevent you from using your super speed at all. You would, of course, agree not to use it, but our method is a safeguard to stop you from using it voluntarily or involuntarily. When Barry is told what his subconscious has revealed, so I was mesmerized into believing all that hokum about the Central City police and newspapers, and about being fed up with my identity as the Flash. What must you think of me? That wasn't you talking, Barry. It was the policeman of the future. I'm not taking this lying down. I'm going into the future to capture Fran Matar and remove his bomb threat, so I can go back to being the Flash. The Flash's Final Fling, Part 2. Not so fast, Barry. Remember, as the Flash, you use the cosmic treadmill to travel into the past, or future. But that's in Central City, and if you use your speed there, you'll blow the place up. Then we'll go another way, but we're going. Next moment, Barry dons his Flash uniform in a burst of blurry speed, even as Dr. McNider throws open the door to a secret closet, and... Hold on, Flash. I'll get into my Dr. Midnight uniform and go with you. No thanks, Doctor. We appreciate your kind offer, but this is one case Kid Flash and I intend to handle ourselves. Racing across Earth 2 at super speed, Flash and Kid Flash vibrate faster and faster, building up compounded vibrations until they slip into the time stream itself. When they slow down, they find themselves back on Earth 1 in the year 3780. We'll go right to the police headquarters. They ought to be able to tell us where to find this Fran Matar. Soon, in police headquarters. Flash, we thought we'd fixed it so you couldn't use your super speed. You did, but Kid Flash unfixed it for me. We're here to capture Fran Matar. Where is he? You realize the consequences if you fail, Flash. For the first move you make against him will prompt him to trigger off the bomb in Central City. Just leave that to us. We'll find a way to capture Fran Matar and save Central City, too. From a high balcony of the police tower, the Scarlet Speedster and the Boy Blazer see their awesome enemy. There he is. He doesn't bother stealing loose money anymore. He takes the entire bank with him and generously returns it later, after withdrawing all the money. Next instant, the fastest man and boy on Earth zip off to confront their futuristic foe. Remember our plan. It took us 3 minutes to travel into the year 3780 from 1966, timing our speed to match that of the electronic frequency. I've got it down, Pat. Now, let's put the skids under Fran Matar. Flash and Kid Flash, stop where you are, making a move to interfere with me and my gang, and I'll blow up your Central City. We're still going to capture you, despite your threat. If you're relying on moving so fast, I can't see you. Forget it. My eyes have been specially treated to enable them to see super speed,
just as your eyes can. Stop at once, or Central City goes sky high.
I'll stop when you're my prisoner.
Fool! Here goes. The deaths of everyone in Central City is on your head. Click.
The next instant, the criminal of 3780 is swung off his feet.
The die is cast!
And so's your future. Up and down, back and forth, he is swept from side to side like a living baton in the hands of a master twirler.
Hurry it up, Flash. You spent a precious half a minute toying with that guy. Here comes his gang.
Leaping off their flying platforms, the future criminals trigger weapons neither of the super speedsters is familiar with.
I'll hold them back. Huh? What's that they're shooting at me?
As a spray of frothy matter hits Kid Flash,
I'm being lifted into the air. My speed's no good to me here. Or is it?
the teenager spins, and like a dog shedding water, he rids himself of that peculiar froth, whipping down at his opponents.
If they go high enough, they'll be out of range to use their weapons.
Now Flash hurtles into the futuristic rumble.
Watch out for those wing-ding weapons of theirs. They're really putting the frosting on the cake.
From the triangles leap beams of brilliance that consume everything before them.
Cool it, Flash. If that beam touches you, you'll really be an X-Flash.
Spinning like a top, the monarch of motion drops out of sight.
We have less than 2 minutes to go back to Central City and stop that bomb.
Tunneling a path under the ground, Flash zooms upward, directly beneath the criminals.
Hey, we're being sneak attacked!
Rising upward, rotating at ever-increasing speed, comes the fastest man on Earth, radiating outward from his arms, like spokes from the hub of a wheel.
Hurry it up, Flash. We have less than a minute to stop the time bomb.
Relax, relax. We'll make it on time. He lets go his living propeller blades. I just wanted to make crime as unpopular here as I could.
Great ambition. Now can we go back to Central City?
Men and youth hit high gear almost as soon as they think about it.
There lands the one I sent into the air. That takes care of the entire gang.
Yes, the police will handle everything now. Backward in time, speeding faster, ever faster through the centuries, they slow down the vibrations that enabled them to slice between the chronal barriers. Remember, vibrate along the same electronic trail of the impulse Frand matter sent back to trigger off the bomb.
I am. And it's bringing us directly toward the bomb, just as a plane follows a beam to a landing field.
They arrived back in 1966, just at the moment of explosion.
There she blows!
You know what to do. Around and around that awesome detonation run Flash and Kid Flash, the lines of force set up by their super swift circuiting form a vast tunnel through which the heat and shock waves rise upward. The explosion will expand itself in the upper atmosphere, causing no harm whatsoever.
Alone, neither of us could have done this, but by working together, we saved Central City.
Next day, banner headlines scream their story.
No headlines? Huh. No appreciation, huh?
It says, "Our Flash saves our city. Thanks, Flash, you're our hero." And to make matters absolutely certain, Flash is given the key to Central City.
Sour looks. Laughing behind your back? Just be glad I don't tell Iris what you said. Kid Flash, you wouldn't dare. And it says Flash announcement. Don't miss the next issue for a comic book first. It will feature an entirely different story based on this very same cover portrayed on this issue. So I don't know what that's about. I'll get to that comic one day probably. So that would be number 60, I think. But The Flash, the ineffable Professor West, is in the thick of it again. This time at a missile base in Florida. Somehow, wherever Iris West's absent-minded savant father is, there's always action, danger, and startling developments that never fail to lift us out of our seats. And where action and danger are, well, you just know the Flash can't be far away. Get set for the Big Blast in Rocket City. Bullet blast 'em! Professor West is in that house, a prisoner of those crooks, and no bullets are going to stop me from rescuing him. In Florida, a trio arrives in bustling, booming Rocket City. Barry and Iris, I sure am grateful you two could arrange your vacations to accompany me down here.
We were glad to do it, Father.
A pleasure, Professor.
Well, remember I'm paying your hotel bills. It will be my wedding present to you both. I didn't get you a wedding present yet, did I?
Father, we're not married. Barry and I are only engaged.
Ooh, Professor West is getting more absent-minded all the time. I guess that's great scientific brain of his. Just can't be bothered with the ordinary details of life.
There it is, the launching pad.
Inside the appropriately named restaurant, after a hearty dinner.
Your colleagues are late, Dad. In this letter that the space agency wrote you, they said some of their members would meet you here at 6 o'clock to be briefed on your latest inventions. But it's after 6 now.
Why don't you and Barry run along, Iris? I can wait by myself.
Well, if you're sure if it's all right, Professor.
Of course it's all right. Don't worry about me. No doubt the agency officials will be here at any moment. You two go ahead. Enjoy yourselves. Do the town.
As the young pair, persuaded, take their leave. See you later, Professor. You hear that? They called him Professor. Could that be the brain himself?
Let's find out.
You didn't just come down here from the north expecting to meet some gents in here, did you, chum?
Yes, I did. But who are you?
Who are we? We're the men you're supposed to meet. We've been waiting for you, Professor.
I'm Slats. This is Duke and Stickpin Pete.
Duke, Stickpin Pete, and Slats? Doesn't sound like members of the space agency, but it could be their cover names. I've heard there's a lot of hush-hush activity around this base. Let's blast off. What do you say? An editor's note. Sobriquets sometimes used by important officials engaged in confidential government work. Soon.
I suppose you're interested in having a look at my discoveries, gentlemen.
We sure are. The brain doesn't waste a minute. It gets right down to business. That's the brain, all right. We heard via the grapevine that he had a new line of his famous scientific stunts to stand the police on their ears. That's why we wired him and made him an offer. He charges a lot, but he's worth it, according to all the reports. in an isolated dwelling on the edge of the city.
We fixed this setup just for you, Professor. How does it look?
Fine. A laboratory in a private house? More of the official passion for secrecy, I suppose. But of course government policy is no affair of mine. My duty is simply to show them the few discoveries I've made that may be useful in their field of space exploration.
At the end of a quarter hour,
Gentlemen, one effect of weightlessness in zero gravity is often dizziness. I've succeeded in isolating the chemical that causes this effect in the body. Here it is.
Weightlessness? Zero gravity? What's he jabbering about?
Shh! That's just a brain's way of talking. But don't you get it? That's a chemical to make cops dizzy.
Sure, it's just the kind of gimmick the brain would come up with.
Fine. We'll take this and try it out. You stay here, Professor. Cook up some more cool gizmos like this one. Okay?
Okay. These space specialists seem to be a new breed, different from us scientists of the old school. I can barely understand their language. However, they did seem impressed with my discovery. By the time they return, I hope to have several others to show them, which should impress them even more.
in bustling Rocket City, a startling crime wave.
This is the richest department store in the South.
You mean it was, Doc? From now on, it'll be the poorest.
Then, on the way out, bring, 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 bring.
Someone set off the burglar alarm. You got the brains gimmick ready, Pete?
Natch.
As police converge on the scene,
Stay where you are, you men. Drop those guns. Let 'em have it, Pete.
Here goes.
My leg's wobbly. Getting dizzy.
It's working terrific.
Help! Police! Those men! That spray has got the cops so dizzy they can hardly stay on their feet. Those people, too.
The wind is just right. It's keeping the spray from affecting us. Come on.
morning dawns. In another corner of the city,
The brain is terrific. He grinds out these gimmicks like sausages.
Get set. There's the place. I've had an itch to crack this drive-in bank ever since we first saw it. We can do it now, with the brain's help. This is a stick-up, miss.
not far off, at this very moment,
Barry, we haven't heard a word from my father since we left him in the restaurant yesterday. I'm very worried.
just a minute, Iris.
And the thieves who robbed the Rocket City department store have just been spotted, heading for the drive-in bank. Good gosh. Barry, how could you be so unfeeling? Something must have happened to my poor father. You might at least listen to me, instead of that crime announcement. Besides, you don't belong to the police force here, so why should you be so concerned?
Can't explain to her. I gotta get out of here. Iris, I wonder if you'd excuse me for a while. There are some things I have to, take care of. And
No, you can take care of your personal things later. We're going to out searching for my father right now. I'm going to the powder room first. As soon as I come out, we'll get started. Do I hear any objections?
Of course not, Iris. Whatever you say, dear. But hardly has the pretty notion started off when her escort is in motion. Iris usually takes a good 10 minutes to powder up and all that. As the Flash, I've got to capture those crooks and get back here before she can discover I'm gone. At invisible super speed, a change comes over Barry Allen. Out from the ring on his finger shoots a red stain that swells quickly on contact with the air into a familiar uniform. And scarcely more than micro moments later, and now for our getaway. The brain said his new gimmick would give us escape velocity.
Turn it on, Duke. Turn it on.
There's the gang. I'll wind this up fast. But as the world's fastest human zooms in, a powerful new type rocket behind the gang's car is ignited. And, whee! This is like being shot from a cannon. Ugh! Dense burst of smoke. Can't see a thing. Swift as a comet, the car hurtles along.
Slow down, Duke, or we'll take off like an airplane.
I'm trying to control it. What power? That was the easiest getaway on record. Thanks to the brain. Let's see what he's whipped up for our next caper. He said something about a heat shield. Meanwhile, Florida breezes have cleared the air around the embattled Flash. They've gotten away. But one thing, that booster rocket behind their car must be fueled by some special new chemical. At super speed, just before the smoke overwhelmed me, I noticed an odd luminosity in the exhaust. Due no doubt to the molecular action of the chemical. Maybe if I reach the same degree of super speed again, the luminosity will become visible again. Molecular action creates radiation that lingers in the air, like a stain lingers on water. As the sensational speedster carries out his idea, faster, still faster, getting there. I can see something. There it is. I'm at the right speed now to see the glinting molecules, and to follow their trail. The luminosity has led me to the gang's car, and to this house. Looks like I've tracked them to their lair all right. But then, as the Sultan of Speed whirls at his objective... Huh? Professor West? What's he doing here? But he is sure it will work, Professor.
Of course it will work. The principle is simple. As you know, re-entry creates intense heat. But my device sets up a force field that nothing can get through. It protects the capsule and acts as a heat shield.
Editor's note. Still believing he is addressing fellow scientists, the professor is dealing with a re-entry problem of space capsules.
Re-entry, force field, heat shield.
Don't you get it, you mugs? This gimmick is for us to use when the heat is on. The brain has come up with another stroke of genius.
Hey, look! The Flash!
Plug him! Before he can make a move against us. As a hail of lead streaks at the Scarlet Speedster, those thieves must be holding Iris's father a prisoner here. I've got to capture them and set him free. So fast does the monarch of motion travel that a layer of compressed air builds up in front of him, battering down the oncoming bullets. These crooks ought to know that mere bullets can't stop the Flash.
He's still coming.
I've got an idea. This new gimmick of the professor. Got to try it. As Duke turns a knob on the box, an unseen wall of incalculable strength surrounds the house.
Good gosh! I'm hitting something. An invisible force field. Bouncing back from it as if I've hid iron a yard thick.
After several more tries,
He can't get through, Brain. You're a marvel. Why, with this heat shield, we could stand off an army.
There must be a way to get in there. I can't leave Professor West in the hands of those thugs.
obeying a canny impulse, the Flash begins a new maneuver.
Gotta hope that force field doesn't extend too deeply underground. If I'm right, I can vibrate down under it and come up inside the house before those crooks realize what's happening.
Where's the Flash? I don't see him.
Editor's note. A master of all the atoms and molecules of his body, the man of super speed can easily penetrate even the hardest materials by means of vibration. Then,
It worked! I'm inside the house! Slowing down for a moment.
And he doesn't see me behind him. At this range, I can't miss.
but as Stickpin pulls the trigger,
Golly, Professor! You saved my life!
Scientist or no scientist, I can't let anyone shoot the Flash.
The Brain is turned against us.
He's a double-crosser.
Finish him off.
Threatening Professor West?
as a multi-pronged lightning bolt explodes into action. When the dust of battle settles,
Flash, I may have said this before, but you are terrific. But I can't understand.
Explanations will have to wait, Professor. I've still got to move fast.
after the Grand Vizier of Velocity has taken care of some loose ends at super speed,
If I'm lucky, I've got a chance to make it back before Iris reappears.
sure enough,
What do you mean? You don't think we're going to have to go searching for my father? What makes you say... Huh? Special Bulletin has just come in. And then the Flash turned the gang over to the police and brought Professor West to the real space agency scientists who had been seeking him. It was a case of mistaken identity, apparently. The real Brain that the crooks had been expecting never reached Rocket City. He was picked up by the police in crossing the state line and is now with the rest of the gang in jail. So Dad is safe after all. But how did you know about this, Barry?
oh, call it a hunch, Iris. That's all.
Barry Allen. Sometimes there are puzzling things about you that you're going to have to clear up after we're married.
And that's the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.